Donations. Donations.
I have no clue who Dr. Umar is.
Donations. Donations. Donations.
I think this guy's getting a lot of donations.
One of the hardest things about being black in America is having to deal with the black consciousness community. Because I swear these dudes cause more damage than the Klan. At least with the Klan, I know what the deal is as soon as I see the fit. A cross is getting set on fire, a noose is getting whipped out, or Kanye is about to drop a new album. The pro-blacks are a different type of problematic. They aren't as straightforward. They get in your ear and then, like demoralization agents, start breaking you down. Everything you learned in school is a lie, brother. You don't have any real agency, brother. The Bible is an instrument to control the Negro, brother. The white man controls everything, brother. There's a school-to-prison pipeline and all your kids are gonna get locked up, brother. Did you know your ancestors got that pussy blown out by the white man, brother? And then it always ends with them either trying to sell you something or asking for a Cash App donation. This is one of the great woes of being a brother in the United States, constantly dealing with these wannabe Afro messiahs who try to hustle black liberation for a quick buck. These fools never produce anything of value, but that don't stop these guys from faking the funk. In the links to which this particular pro-black wannabe Afro-Messiah activist has gone in the past 2 decades to take $1 from gullible marks who thought they were funding a positive change in the community is one of the most egregious I've ever seen. So I'm gonna give you a timeline across 15 years of a scam artist who took money to open a school that will never be open. Let's take a little look at brother Dr. Umar Johnson.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Umar Johnson, and I am a school psychologist and doctor of clinical psychology.
Umar is one of those super charismatic confidence trickster type grifters. In another timeline, he could have been a televangelist or mega church preacher pimping out Jesus for that greenery. But the path he went down was that of a pro-black activist, a Pan-African pro-black activist. In fact, he's not just a Pan-Africanist, he is, according to himself, the Prince of Pan-Africanism.
Peace and love, black family. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Which basically means that instead of pimping out Jesus, he's pimping out Hotepism. Now, Umar's been in this pro-black activist game for years. His shenanigans span a good 2 decades, but this isn't a full-on documentary. We're just here to examine the crown jewel.
I'm kind of worried about like repeating some of these things because I don't know if like I have enough melanin to say them.
Of Umar's Hotep hustling history. One of the longest running grifts I've ever seen an internet charlatan get away with for so long. That is Umar's eternal fundraiser for the Franklin Douglas Marcus Garvey Academy. What makes the FDMG Academy grift so fascinating is how transparent of a grift it is. Now this might cause a lot of you to ask, but Mikey, why are there still people sending Dr. Umar cash apps and money over the mail then? Well, part of it is Umar's almost cult leader tier charisma, and another part is sunk cost fallacy. Because this is a scheme that's been going on for 15 years. Now the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy itself was supposed to be Umar living up to the saying, be the change you want to see in the world. We're done relying on the white man and his racist cracker institution. We'll build our own schools, especially curated for young black minds.
Hey, the Gullas did it. I'm just saying, you know, once they became free men, the Gullas had no problem creating their own schools. How much money did he need? They didn't need. Does that say the Prince of Pan, the principal of Black Hogwarts? Sorry. Right.
Staffed with all black teachers and with a curriculum designed from the ground up to cultivate black excellence.
Included with this Facebook post was an image of the aerial view of the 500-acre FDMG campus compound. The 500-acre compound included a security booth, a campus security center, a welcome center, 7 massive dormitory buildings including visitor rooms, an elementary school, a middle school, a marine science building, a science and technology building, a hospital, a health center, an engineering and architectural building, a zoo, farmland area, agricultural building, animal study building, farming equipment building, special arts building, a store, a culinary arts building, a business center and union building, a track and field facility, a baseball stadium, a political government building, building, an aviation and NASA building, a military building, an air traffic control tower, 2 aircraft bays, an airport runway, a man-made river shaped like Africa surrounding the 500-acre campus compound, and much.
Did that motherfucker build a moat? An Africa-shaped moat? Is the moat African if it's shaped like Africa? Is he trying to go back to like the 1500s? Is this his like fiefdom? What is going on?
Much more.
So yeah, Umar was basically going to build Black Hogwarts. He was going to be the headmaster of Black Hogwarts that was going to...
Look, we all know if there was going to be a Black Hogwarts, Morgan Freeman would be the headmaster. He would be Dumbledore. Everybody knows it.
Mass-produce young Black Pan-African Ubermenschen. And this Black Hogwarts plan went into action on January 6, 2010, when Dr. Umar made this post on Facebook. Promises in 2010 to begin laying the groundwork for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Pan-African School for Black Boys, specializing in learning disabilities and disruptive behavior disorders. This will be a private school, and yes, you will pay in order for your son to attend. Grand opening, September 11th, 2013. This is chess, not checkers. Well, apparently Umar didn't know how to play chess or checkers, because when September of 2013 came around, there was no school, no building, not even a site where one would hypothetically be built. Literally no groundwork had been completed. This would be the first of many missed deadlines in the FDMG saga. It would also be the first of many times Umar exploited legal gray zones to be able to keep the money after the fundraiser was over, because Umar wasn't giving anyone any refunds. He could get away with this because the money he received were donations, so he wasn't legally obligated to give them back after failing to purchase or even start building a school. If the FDMG mission was a registered charity, well then maybe you could get a state attorney general involved, but it wasn't. Not in 2013. That was just Umar's money now. Apparently nobody was that bothered about where all the money went, because it didn't go to anything related to a school. Regardless, the optics of starting another fundraiser didn't bother Umar one bit, because he went straight into a new one in a mission to purchase a location in Virginia. This was the ambitious fundraising drive to purchase the defunct St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia, a 135-acre HBCU campus that had closed the year prior. In June 2014, Umar said he had until August 21st to raise $5 million in order to buy or refurbish St. Paul's 35 buildings for FDNG Academy.
Make your donation, tell your family, tell your church, tell your mosque, tell your fraternity, your sorority, your Masonic lodge, your community-based organization, everybody you know, all your friends, all your family, that Dr. Umar Johnson...
That is exactly what somebody that is running a, what are those, pyramid scheme, multi-level thing says. Tell your family, tell your friends, just tell them to come to me, because, you know, you'll get a little piece, and then I'll get a little piece. And if they tell people, then they'll get a little piece, and you'll get a little piece, and I'll get a little piece. And we'll all get little pieces together, and before you know it, we have a big piece. Everybody's got a big piece, and we're all happy. We're all making it. We're all good. I understand there's a thing called an idiot tax, and, you know, that's basically a tax for people who don't know what to spend their money on, or they don't know when they're being swindled or bamboozled. Usually an idiot tax is like playing the lottery, because you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning twice than you are winning lottery. But this is bad. Like this kind of upsets me. Like trying to swindle everybody and getting them to swindle others for you.
is trying to acquire the St. Paul's Historically Black College for the purpose of transforming it into the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy for African Boys.
Now, it's worth keeping in mind that on GoFundMe, the money was all going to an account under Umar's control, not a separate FDNG legal entity. Umar hadn't and would never establish a proper independent board of directors, a segregated bank account, or any transparent governance structure to ensure the funds were used solely for the school. Instead, it just all went into his bank account. He also never publicly accounted for the total, so we don't know exactly how much he brought in, period. All this obfuscation means that a lot of questions you might ask, like how much had been raised, where exactly is the money all being held, is there not a board or trust overseeing the funds, would never get answered. Anyway, by August, the $5 million goal wasn't met and the St. Paul's auction fell through. Umar's response was to shrug off another fundraising failure, saying he would just find another property. And this is where the pattern was officially formed. Umar makes a big promise and begs for money. Umar gets those donations coming in. Umar falls short of his fundraising goal. Umar shifts the goalpost to a new goal, all while Umar fails to disclose exactly how much money he fundraised in the previous one.
Now, I need the money from the church. I need the money. I need this money. And you know, when he did that campaign, he put a date on it. I need the money. I have a school that I'm going to get. I need the money by 30 days. I need the money by 30 days. If I don't get the money in 30 days, I'm going to lose the school. I need this amount of money in 30 days. So people are hurrying up, donating the money. They're like, okay, damn, we put a whole bunch of money down.
Was Omar like breathing in like that? Like, I know somebody who does that, but they cocaine.
Damn, man. The cracker saw that I got all that money, and the cracker took it away. The cracker took the school away right when I got the money. See, the cracker's after me. See, the cracker don't want me to have it. They don't want our boys to have a school. They don't want our girls to learn. The crackers don't want our community to rise. When he started doing that, I said, okay, the scam is on.
As a cracker, if you have money and you are willing to let it go, I will happily take it. Swig break.
During the period between 2015 to 2018, Umar wouldn't do shit. Straight up didn't do nothing for a good 3 years straight. Hold up, that's not completely true. In 2015, he got caught doing a stripper who exposed him.
Umar's done, okay? Umar's just washed up. He's never gonna be Marcus Garvey or Malcolm X. You know, he was never going to be, regardless of what happened. Nobody even had to bring any information up on Umar. Umar, he was gonna reveal himself anyway.
What made this so spicy was that brother Umar was always talking about the dignity of black women and how they should conduct themselves in a certain way. And here he was messing with a sister who was a stripper. Also, she was a single mom. And that's a thing that Umar really has a thing for. He really loves him some single mothers.
Who doesn't love a single mom? Come on, let's be honest. Who doesn't really love a single mom? When you look like me, you love a single mom.
Loves him so much that he's produced at least 3 that we know of. That wasn't the
Not where I thought he was going.
only time he got exposed during this period either, because in 2017, Umar's rep took an even bigger hit when the Pennsylvania State Board of Psychology hauled him into a hearing over practicing without a license. Now, not to slander the good doctor's name, he has a degree, but just now, the psychology, Umar's rep took an even bigger hit when the Pennsylvania State Board of Psychology hauled him into a hearing over practicing without a license. Now, not to slander the good doctor's name, he has a degree, but just because you have a degree and are a doctor of psychology doesn't automatically make you a psychologist. You gotta have a valid active state license to practice too, and there are no records from the Pennsylvania.
Why does he right here? Why does he kind of look like if Tech 9 got stung by a bee? Anybody else see it? You know, like just you know, he's up there doing worldwide choppers, and all of a sudden, you know, just a little bumblebee comes down. He starts swatting at it, but it lands on his face and gives a little. Zzz. Then he swells up, and then he has to finish off worldwide choppers with like a Swollen tongue.
Pennsylvania Board of Psychology that show that Umar has ever had an active license. There's no evidence that Umar has ever had a license in any state. So he's literally not a psychologist, not in a professional or legal sense. That doctor in front of his name, mostly for show. It's a whole lot easier to grift niggas into donating and single black mothers into letting you clap some cheeks when they think you're some kind of professional. Now, despite literally not being a psychologist, Umar still calls himself a child psychologist and has diagnosed several black children. He's also been paid to do this. Getting people to pay you to evaluate and diagnose their children as a psychologist when you don't have a clinical license is fraud. And Umar's fraud allegations were really starting to spread around black social media and black conscious circles during this period. They started calling Umar out for his never-ending fundraisers. Some were even calling it a straight-up scam.
I turned down 80% of the lectures that's offered me. I run businesses. I got other sources of income. Umar, you a traveling fucking preacher. That's your only source of income, going around the country scamming motherfuckers. That's your only source of income, nigga. That's why you were broadcasting from hotels all the time. Not like you doing something fly, nigga. That's your only source of income. You a traveling minister, and all you doing is just telling people about the building fund that never gets built. Ain't no school happening. It don't take 3 years to get a fucking school, and you got, well, damn near $500,000 fucking dollars. It don't take that long to get a school. There's a million things you could have done to get a school. This nigga's been coming up with every excuse on the planet. Well, my bank, what happened, the cracker's trying to get my bank, and they're trying to put liens on me, because that's what the cracker do. They try.
I mean, I gotta give him credit. Dr. Umar, he monetized racism in a way I've never heard before. Impressive.
To see what I'm doing for the boys. Fuck Umar, he's a big fat bitch lying ass nigga. Ain't no school, family.
And how could they?
Oh man. Oh man. Damn, that's gotta be tough.
Not when there have been no independent audits of the donations provided. Umar hadn't shared any financial details, and all while there hadn't been a single bit of progress since he announced the campaign in 2010. He hadn't even established a tax-exempt entity for the school until years into fundraising. And it's not because he just forgot. Nobody starts a giant fundraising campaign to build a school and just forgets to set up a 501c3. Umar never did it because it gave him the ability to keep how much money he was getting a secret, letting him do whatever he wanted with that money without another party holding him accountable.
Secret funding in my pocket. Secret funding. I forget the second verse, but it probably ends up with, this guy getting a little washed up.
If a board was overseeing his actions, or if the IRS was flipping through a report he submitted, they would start noticing how much of that donor money for school wasn't actually going towards his school. As 2019 was drawing near, Umar could feel his grift treasure fleet sinking into the sea, so he was going to have to act quick to keep it afloat. He had to do something that would at least maintain the illusion of progress. So in late 2018, Umar finally made the move to purchase a campus. By February of 2019, Umar was able to announce that the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy project had hit its next major milestone after he secured an abandoned charter school complex.
The entire African world will come here on a regular basis to help us organize and strategize and mobilize our people for the Pan-African resurrection that our ancestors crave and deserve.
Motherfucker, please tell me he did not put on the bow tie. I mean, he does. If he has a doctorate in psychology, he understands what he's wearing and why he's wearing it. Gotta give him credit for that. But damn.
All roads in the African world, all 7 continents and the hundreds of countries, all roads will lead to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. Wilmington, Delaware, I hope you're ready. Everywhere from Dover to Newcastle to Wilmington and points beyond, get ready, because we are about to become the living example of what a black community is supposed to be.
600 square feet combined across 2 acres in Wilmington, Delaware for only $400,000. Now some of you might hear that price and ask, Mikey, $400,000 for all that is basically a steal. How could Umar have gotten a property like that for so cheap? Oh, that's easy. It's 'cause it's trash. Umar basically spent almost $500,000 on an oversized garbage heap. If you've watched a previous video of mine about a guy named John Finley, a crazy white man from Utah who bought a warehouse complex for dirt cheap in one of the worst cities in America, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, you should already know that super cheap properties come with a bunch of miscellaneous headaches that keep the rent low. For starters, the city of Wilmington itself is a giant red flag. Back in 2017, Wilmington was ranked not only the most dangerous city in the state of Delaware, but the 5th most dangerous city in all of America. Now, has the crime gotten better since then? No, not really. In 2021, Wilmington had a homicide rate of 45 per 100K residents. Wanna guess how much higher the property crime rate in Wilmington is? 3,637 per 100K residents. Umar bought a school in the only city in Delaware that has a murder rate 6 to 7 times higher than the rest of the state and a property crime rate that's 13 times higher. And this is the environment he was supposedly going to cultivate the next generation of great black minds in. Now that's ugly enough on its own, but the FDMG property itself wasn't equally bad. Problem. The school's condition when Umar bought it was catastrophic. Hadn't been used or even maintained for years and had deteriorated substantially. We're talking water damage, mold and asbestos, broken HVAC, destroyed ceilings, outdated plumbing, outdated wiring, copper stolen out of the walls, plumbing, and at least one building had fire code violations flagged in past inspections. The total
Hang on, there it is. I've seen Field of Dreams. I know if you build it, they will come. Ain't nobody coming to this. Ain't nobody coming to this. Nobody's gonna come to this. You're gonna tell somebody, hey, I want you to leave your comfortable, affluent neighborhood, and I want you to give me money so that your children can go to one of the most dangerous places in America. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Ain't nobody gonna do that.
total cost for rehabilitating Umar's Pan-African Hogwarts just to meet code alone would land at around $2 million if you really wanted to be frugal, all the way up to approximately $5 million. Oh, and the cherry on top? Within like a mile and a half of the school, we're talking a 20 to 25 minute walk, is a level 5 maximum security prison. So yeah, Umar basically got the property for cheap because the property was a catastrophe of health hazards, code violations, and exhaustive future renovation costs and fines that the city of Wilmington just really wanted off the books. But hey, a school is a school. With enough effort and money committed, Umar could have this in a decent enough shape and ready for fresh young minds in just a few years. But Umar wasn't trying to wait that long.
Brothers and sisters, we did it. Y'all did it. 4.5 years, we finally got us a campus. We didn't get in St. Paul's, but we still got us a nice, beautiful campus. Get that spray paint off, Get inside, get that electric, that water, that HVAC, get them classrooms set up. Got a little park for the babies. Who ready for that grand opening? We need y'all to donate. Make sure you send your checks and money orders in. Make sure you send your checks and money orders in, brothers and sisters. We're trying to have this campus ready for August the 21st, quadricentennial, to celebrate our ancestors.
Nah, he announced the grand opening for FDMG for that school year in August 21st of 2019, which happened to coincide with Umar's birthday, because Umar's got a bit of a big head, literally and figuratively, that makes him want to make everything about him.
I wasn't going to say it. I mean, as a, having a plus-size chrome dome myself, I wasn't going to say it, but tell me he doesn't wear a size 9 hat.
Not that it fucking mattered, cause the school didn't open in August of 2019, cause duh, nigga. This should have been obvious to anyone who knew just how far behind Umar was in basically doing anything with this school. Never mind that all the rehabbing alone would have taken a lot more money and way more time than just a few months. FDMG still didn't have any staff, didn't have a curriculum, didn't have occupancy permits, and it wasn't accredited or even had a license to operate as a school. This dude didn't have anything close to ready. FDMG was so far away from being operational that for Umar to have announced that it was going to be open in only 6 months, he either had to be the most optimistic nigga in Delaware, like to the point of being straight up Delulu, or he was just lying and never had any intention of opening up the school in that time frame. And that's genuine.
He was definitely going to open up the school. I totally understand. He definitely wasn't trying to pocket any of that money. He was definitely 100% applying every penny to getting that place up and running. I mean, he even has a little flashlight on his head.
Genuinely delusional as Umar can get. Anyone who's familiar with his game knows what the real answer is. See, the thing about the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy buildings, or as Umar Johnson's top op, Lennon Honor likes to call them,
these trap bandos,
is that they mainly exist as
What do they call
sales.
it?
Lennon Honor likes to call them,
these trap bandos,
is that they mainly
trap
exist as
bandos.
sales props. A brick and mortar location that Umar could take pics of or do live streams in front of and say, hey look, I'm not a fraud, I'm not a scam artist, I got the school right here. Just give Papa a few more months and donations, and we'll have this thing up and popping. Umar Johnson might be a grifter, a schemer, and a pathological liar, but he's not stupid. He knew when he first looked at this place that he wasn't gonna open this hole in a year, or even in a couple years. But the pro-blacks he was grifting off of didn't know that. At least they didn't know it yet. And in the time it took for the obvious to dawn on him, Umar could grease them palms and keep getting them checks, PayPal donations, and cash apps. And that's essentially all.
I'm not one who understands a lot about fixing up houses, fixing up buildings, schools, whatever. My guess would be, before you start cleaning the place up, let like the electrician do his job. Before you start mopping the floors, let the plumber come in and do what he's supposed to do. Before you start like wiping the walls and cleaning the vents, let the HVAC guy come in and do his job. Why would you clean the floor if the moment one of those guys comes through, you're going to have to do all that over again? I mean, I get it. It's to look like you're doing something. And the longer it takes to get done, the more money goes in this guy's pocket and the more beard product he can afford to buy. And the more hats and shirts and necklaces and jewelry he can afford to get. It hurts my heart.
All this FDMG scam is. This charter school complex so run down and shitty that the city of Wilmington basically gave it away was just a $400,000 marketing scheme Umar invested in to keep his grift from dying. And honestly, even saying he invested in it isn't right, because again, Umar bought the school with donor money, not his money, because he doesn't have a real job. This nigga literally begs for donor money so he can reinvest it back into the grift so he can beg for more donor money. That was the new meta that Umar had established, and he would use it liberally for the next half decade.
I'm the pretty prince of panhandles. Yo, got a money handle. Give it to me and I will buy a school for all of our children to go to. La da 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 da.
Late 2019 to 2020, Umar would really live up to his Prince of Panhandling
Swig break.
sobriquet. He needed to get these buildings up to code so he could secure a state license to even be able to operate it as a school. He needed new HVAC systems, plumbing, electrical wiring, and mold and asbestos removal. Now, as we covered earlier,
Asbestos is expensive to remove.
that would cost Umar a lot of money. And despite getting free money for it,
If he needs asbestos removed, why is he having people in the building to begin with? That should be like priority uno.
decade at that point, Umar was surprisingly miserly. At least he was when it came to spending the money on shit people who donated expected him to spend it on. He didn't want to hire any large professional crews. Nah, he leaned on the community, begging for skilled black volunteers to work on the campus. Pro bono.
I wish a brother would just hit me up who does this kind of work and say, hey, I got you. You know, just pay for the materials, Doc. We're going to do the labor on the strength of black boys.
It sounds like slavery with more steps.
This call of Umar's went largely unanswered. Unsurprisingly, niggas don't want to work for free. Umar, who hasn't worked a real job since Obama's first term and lives off digital welfare, can't understand why these coons who will work all day every day for the white man won't lift a finger for a brother trying to build up the community. The idea that it's because the brother expects him to work for free while the
What was he painting? Oh, maybe it's that wall on the right. So let's say the wall behind him isn't white. What is he painting? And I mean, I don't. Yet again, you're just gonna have to redo all that shit.
a white man actually writes him a check just doesn't cross Umar's mind. The lack of any handyman lending a school a hand was both a negative and a positive for Umar, because while it meant almost nothing got fixed, Umar could use the dilapidated state of the school to keep e-begging. Exactly how much he had e-begged so far was still up in the air. Umar did finally obtain official 501c3 nonprofit.
I wonder if by the end of this we find out how much money he actually got. I mean, because so far, according to this, and like I don't know how true it is, he's only spent $400,000. Okay, which is a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. $400K is a lot of money. That could keep me happy and fat for 10 years. I mean, what's that? 40K a year? Yeah, fat and happy for 10 years, easy.
Status for the FDMG Academy. He didn't do this for transparency, obviously. He did it so that the donations were now tax deductible. Can't let the cracker oppressor run government get any of this Pan-African money. Now this did mean that Umar finally had to file some basic financial disclosures. The first of which was an IRS 990 form that
That's how they got the completionist.
showed FDNG holding a little over $518K in assets. Basically just a Delaware property and some leftover cash, which was a little on the low side from what a lot of people would have expected, but there were no real details provided. There was also no external audits or oversight mechanisms instituted aside from this. No government agency ever intervened to verify the legitimacy of Umar's Black Hogwarts project. Regardless, Umar kept it pushing, kept the donation train running with all sorts of distractions. He gave tours of the school, even though his shantytown-ass buildings were unsafe as fuck to walk through. He got black folk, usually women, together to do free labor for him in and around the school like yard work or painting. This shameless bum-ass nigga Umar Johnson had somebody's grandma painting for him for free in his moldy building with no working AC. In 2021, bro even started hosting block parties at FDMG. Like, the school itself is still nowhere close to being open, but here this dude was throwing an annual FDMG family festival outside it. The name of the event was a lie too, by the way. Umar wasn't able to hold these festivals every year. Even that was too much of a commitment for him. But despite all his best efforts to keep up appearances, the relentlessness of his begging and the complete lack of any progress with the school was starting to catch up to him. Shit got critical when Lennon Honor released an in-depth shockumentary where he dissected Umar's BS piece by piece. The most damning out of all of Lennon's research for me is how he broke down what Umar's alleged he's received in donations over the years and came to the conclusion that the math just ain't mathing, and Umar was lying and received way more money than he's been claiming. That he had broken the 7-figure mark on donations a while ago, actually.
Despite collecting over $1 million in donations for a non-existent school and without gainful employment, Umar Johnson has become nothing more than a homeless cyberbum, a virtual vagrant, a digital destitute. The irony is that Umar Johnson's school scam has been in effect for over 10 years now, and the scam itself has become a ball and chain that shackles Umar Johnson to the fantasies that he continues to echo in his own shattered psyche.
Despite this, Umar would just keep begging, blaming his lack of progress on the community for not doing more. More, of course, being giving Umar even more money.
Do you know what you could do if you would just sacrifice your Christmas money?
Lock the doors. Lock the doors.
You can do a Christmas boycott. Whatever you was going to spend on Christmas gifts, you're going to put it in a bank account, and we're going to build a black school for our kids. We ain't got to touch your New Year's money. We ain't got to touch your 4th of July money. We ain't got to touch your birthday money. All we got to touch is your Christmas money.
These lazy Negroes out here spending money on Christmas gifts when they could.
Yeah, you love your kids? Don't you want your kids to have a good education? Isn't that better than giving your kids a gift? What's better gift could they have than education?
Could be giving that money to me to spend on these trap bandos I bought in one of the most violent cities in America. So we get to 2022, and the school still isn't open despite Umar saying the opening's just around the corner. At this point, people besides the usual Umar critics are starting to scrutinize Umar's narratives a bit. Well, in early 2023, he would finally set a public target opening date for September 3rd, 2024. He was finally gonna flex on those broke YouTubians, those self-hating coons, and those negative Negroes who didn't believe in the dream and kept doubting that FDMG would ever open its door. The school didn't open in September 2024. Wasn't even functional. Damn near in the exact same condition as when Umar bought it 5 years ago. I know I'm basically fast forwarding through the timeline, but after a certain point, it was just the same thing over and over and over again. Umar says the school is gonna open. He e-begs. He gets the money. School doesn't open. Rinse and repeat. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. The niggas who still support Umar's lying, scamming, grifting ass in 2024 are insane. Fortunately, the number's been waning. You can only say FDMG is coming next year so many years in a row. And by 2025, Umar knew it. He knew the grift was on borrowed time, which is why he's been going to more desperate measures to resuscitate it. Like the recent
Swig break.
event in June of this year about how his campus had been vandalized in a break-in. Apparently some YNs broke in, smashed the windows, and destroyed a 5,000 book personal library collection Umar had amassed for the school. They also stole several cultural artifacts and school supplies. These malicious actors caused Umar to delay the opening of his school once again.
Brothers and sisters, as we start a new year, vandalism has began again at the Frederick Douglass High School. We haven't had anybody vandalizing the school for several years now. We do have cameras. I'm going to go through the cameras and find out who it is, and I will make a police report.
Man, this dude really thinks everybody is retarded. Maybe the people who still support him, but most of us can put 2 and 2 together, Umar. Even if we go along with this idea that some random hoodlums ransacked your trashy
Destroyed my private book collection of 5,000 titles, including rare and out-of-print books. This was personal. Hopefully the cameras will show us who did it. Poured paint all over my books and cultural artifacts, broke glass, and destroyed everything they saw, including school supplies for children. Who would do such a thing? Apparently, I mean, I thought all they did around here was kill people. Now they destroy books. What's next? Talking in the library? Won't have it.
School for loot, the idea that there's anything of worth in that bitch is preposterous. You can't vandalize some shit that's already run down and busted, nigga. This was just sympathy bait to get more donations and give him an excuse to delay the school's opening again. The long con would continue indefinitely. Or maybe not, because something very tragic has happened to Umar. Nothing to do with his school, but with his bank account.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. I need y'all to listen up. I got a very important announcement. I'm only going to keep you a few minutes. This morning, I received a text message from one of my homies. He needed Dr. Umar to send him a couple dollars. I logged into my account just to check my balance because I haven't done so since I left for South Africa back on July 10th. Only to discover that I could not log into my account. So then I called the bank to find out what was going on. They told me they had no record of my account. They had no record of my account. The bank that I've been with since I was a teenager told me they had no record of my account. And the bank told me that my personal account, as well as the independent Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy account, have both been frozen. Both bank accounts have been frozen.
According
If they have no history or knowledge of your account, how could they then freeze that account? Make that make sense. God, you figuring that a head that big, he'd have something rattling around in it.
to Umar, his financial accounts have been hacked and frozen, leaving him with no access to FDMG funds. Now, there's been no bank or regulatory authority that's corroborated this story of Umar's. There's been no report of a police investigation, and Umar hasn't provided any proof of a bank correspondence or any court filings. So far as we know, he could just be making up all this shit. This could just be scheme number 272 to get some shekels out of what remains of his loyal base. You know what Umar did do, though, with his back against the wall and only $5 to his name?
Until my bank account is frozen or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal.
He started e-begging. It's like a reflex for him at this point. When in trouble, beg. When in doubt, beg. When under scrutiny, beg. When it's raining outside, beg. When one of your baby mamas threatens to raise your child support payments, beg. It's all he knows how to do. He legit can't live any other way. Grown-ass nigga in his 50s, supposed to have opened a school a whole ass 13 years ago. But where's all that money he got to build the school gone? It's gone to all the trips he takes across the states, to Africa, to Europe, to Latin America, to Asia. It's gone to all the motels he crashes at on his speaking tours that he has to beg for now despite constantly claiming to be the most requested black speaker and scholar. It goes to gambling, to dinners, to fashion, to drinks, to strippers, to nigga trinkets, and so on and so forth. Definitely ain't going to building Black Hogwarts.
He sets up this whole idea that his bank accounts are frozen, but he did that because he knew that these buildings had past due bills that would ultimately, if he doesn't pay them by the 25th, I believe, that ultimately they're going to go up for sale at sheriff auction. What he was attempting to do was to make his followers believe that somehow he had the money to pay these bills, totaling $38,288.22, but that he didn't have access to the funds because his bank accounts were frozen. That's what he wants people to believe, but he's not able to pull it off.
Sorry for all the dedicated Dr. Umar supporters who sent hundreds or even thousands of dollars to this duplicitous, skeezy ass motherfucker. But FDMG is not coming.
What happened to the FDMG Cash App? The struggle streamers had it shut down. What happened to the FDMG Cash App? The struggle streamers had it shut down. What happened to the FDMG Cash App? The struggle streamers had it shut down.
1990 was
Okay, so what? That man raised 8 figures. What did he spend the money on? What did he spend the money on? That makes no sense. I don't get it. I mean, you take somebody with a doctorate in clinical. Jordan Peterson wanted to start the Peterson Academy. What'd that take? Like a few years? Less than 5? Boom! It was open. This guy's been doing this since 2010, almost 15 years now. And all he has is a rundown building that he can't afford to keep. Come on, man. What part of the game is this? I'm surprised he doesn't have like a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe set up. I bet he does. I bet he does. I bet he does. I bet he does. Hang on. GoFundMe. Hang on. Let's look. Let's see. Let's search. Dr. Umar. Oh! Here we go. Defend Dr. Umar. Need your help. He is facing criminal investigation for fraud and need good lawyers. Without excellent representation, he will surely end up in jail. No spell checking at all. We are also raising money for bail once he is arrested. Help Umar with donations today. I'm kind of happy there's 0% on this. Oy vey. Oh, man. How about the FDML? What was it? It wasn't FDML. It was FD... Oh, come on, man. I guess I just quit caring about the name since they said it so many freaking times. Now I gotta figure it out. Oh, it was right there on the back. FDMG. FDMG. School. At least there's no GoFundMe for that. But there is a GoFundMe, for these facing fraud charges. And if you want to help, make sure to go and